I want to stitch out tiles 29, 30, and 31. So I'm in Embroidery Essentials right now. I'm going to come up here to the Preferences button, which is the little yellow icon, and click that. And I want the 360 by 200 millimeter hoop. That's the big one that I just put the fabric in. And it's very simple to do this. I open up my folder at the bottom of my screen. I'm going to grab tile 29 and bring it in. And I'm going to click on it to highlight it and just drag it over here. And if you notice, I'm putting it down a little bit closer to the bottom, not quite center, so that I don't stitch up here where there's not any of the fusible woven. So I need to, there's 29, and here is 30. And 31. You can also use your arrow keys on your keyboard to move it. If you've got them stacked on top of each other, it might be difficult to grab them sometimes. Okay, that all looks really good. And that's all I need to do. Now, I will click, if you haven't already, if you're using this, you want to click Preferred so that you are using the colors as they are identified in the instructions. So number 1 is white, and 2 is 532. So while this says 131 smoke, this is what Embroidery assigned it to be. And if I go to the instructions, the PDF document, you can see that it's actually 176. You may find that's that fog color. So let me go back in here and click on just this color tile. And I'm going to go to number, and I'm going to type in 0176. And that comes up. The other issue that I have found is that 176 is not in the Isacord library for the machine. So I am going to leave this just like it is, but I know that 176 is actually going to be, I made it 131 on the machine. The next it says is white. And what you need to do is you need to make sure, so it says tile 29 here, we have white, which is 15, 532, 176, 15, and 20. The black where it says seam is that basting box, and that will always be the last one that stitches for that particular tile. So that's a real good way for you to keep track here what's what, because black is always the last one. So we know that until we reach the black here, that we're still on tile 29. And then for all of the rest of these, I'm going to use the instructions in the PDF document to go ahead and put the threads correctly for the machine. So I'm ready to save this to a USB. So I'll just go File, Save Stitch File As, and hit the drop down, and I'm going to go down to USB drive, and I'm going to call it 29-30-31, and it's the PES file format, and you would save it to your machine's file format. You can change that by clicking this arrow right here and choosing whatever file format your machine uses. I'm going to click Save, and now it is on the USB and we're ready to go to the machine.
So the first thing I'm going to do, that it always wants you to do, is to put a drop of oil in the machine that day. And I'm going to take out the bobbin thread just to make sure I don't get any oil on the bobbin thread. And the oil goes right behind where that little divot is. It just gets one drop. Right there is fine. And I'm going to put the lid back on it. I'm pretty fastidious about that because that little thing is tiny. Okay, and I have a fairly new bobbin. I'm gonna pop that in. And okay, so that's all ready to go. And now I'm going to touch the screen. It says it's going to move. Tell it okay. All right, so I have all of the threads already loaded on the machine. I have taken embroidery tape, little paper tape, and I have written the number of each spool at the top. So that's going to let me know what spool I need to use, whether, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. I put that up there so I know what's what on the back. Because this is being done by color number, not necessarily by color, because the colors are pretty similar all throughout the entire design. The last two on spools 9 and 10 are the metallic. Okay, here is the screen. I need to pull up the design, so I'm going to touch the symbol for USB, which is that little trident looking thing. And there is my design, 29, 30, and 31. And you can see, even though I saved it horizontally, it's reading it vertically. Not a big deal. It says it's too big for the extra large frame. If you want to use this, you need to rotate it 90 degrees till it's fine. And the first thing it does is it brings it in upside down. Just to keep my brain straight, I will rotate it 180 degrees because I think this one is 29, 30, 31 instead of 29, 30, 31. I'm pretty sure. All I have to do now is hit set, and I'm going to hit the rotate button and rotate it 90 degrees, and it will actually flip it 180. There we go. That's what I want. I'm all done with it now. I'm going to tell it okay. And edit end is the next button. And here we are at the spools. So you want to touch the spools, and we're going to go through each one of the designs and tell it what spool to use. As you can see, even though I have even when I had the thread colors programmed into the machine, it didn't always do exactly what I wanted. So I'm just double checking, and I have unanchored all of the threads. Matter of fact, let me go back here to settings, that little piece of paper that looks like settings, and I have it on isocord by number on page 1. I'm going to jump to page 3, and I'm going to hit number 6, and I want to go by number, and I'm just going to put 15 and hit the anchor so it knows that 15 is white, and 20, I've got that anchored already. No, I don't. Let me touch 5, just anchor it. See, well, nope, number, I'm going to clear and hit 20 and tell it okay. But there. Now it knows that 6 is white and 5 is black. I have anchored those down. Even so, I don't trust it, so I don't want to have to redo this and maybe have to use more fabric. So I'm just going to go through and tell everything what it is that it needs to be. I'm going to tell it okay. All right. So, see, even though it knows the first stitch is 15 for isocord white, it still says it's number 1, and it needs to be number 6. So I'm going to tell it 6. That's what we want. 532 is spool number 4. And then 3 is 176, which is spool number 3. 4, the 4th one is spool number 6. It's white. And 20, this just happens to be the 5th stitch, and it says spool number 5. So that's okay. Now we're going to jump to tile number 30. 532 is spool number 4. 15 is spool number 6. And 20 is spool number 5. And the last one, 532, is spool number 4. 15 is spool number 6. 311 is actually a metallic, that is spool number 10. And then 20 is spool number 5. I'm going to tell it okay. And we're ready to go now. I can hit embroidery. And now I need to put the hoop in the machine. All right. And we are set. All done. Nothing further we need to do with this. I just need to hit the lock button and tell it to go. That's it. And it will do its thing. So lock and then hit the green button. And we're off. This is going to take 20 minutes. So I'll see you back here when we're done. I got a broken thread on number 6. So I just touched OK on the screen to get it to quit blinking. And I'm going to just give me a clean end. And it popped up out of this. I'm going to rethread. Let go of my finger. Alright, there we go. Let's see, I gotta pull this down to get that back behind there. There we go. And let's see, if you hit this needle threader button, and the little arm comes out, and I put the thread under there, and turn it off. Okay, so when that happens, normally you want to back up about 10 stitches. So I'm going to hit the needle plus minus button, and I'm going to minus 10. And maybe need to go back. I'll go back 20 more. That should be good. Yeah, 10 more. That'll work. Okay. And let me double check my bobbin thread and make sure everything is fine in here. What do I have? Oh, I've got threads up in there I need to get out. See this? This is why whenever you have a broken thread, you always want to check. Look what there. Yeah, I gotta get all that out of there. I think that was all we had. There's one. Oh, there, that looks better. Okay. Oh, it's perfect. Oh, that was a tie off right there. There we go. Okay, so it's all finished, and let me hit OK. Pop it out. Look at that. Didn't that turn out just gorgeous? Beautiful, beautiful stuff. So that is how you do 3 at a time in the multi-needle. And I am going to pop this out of the hoop and rehoop it over here and do some more that need to be done. So this is awesome.